There was a knock at the door, hard, angry, insistent. "Who is it?" the woman asked fearfully. "The dick in the coat. Open up, or we'll take the door out." With trembling hands, she opened the lock, and 3 big men in leather jackets burst into the house. "What do you want from me?" whispered the landlady. "Money, and don't play dumb. We're not going to play with you. I don't know anything. I don't have any money. Look for it. Look wherever you want. Your dead husband didn't pay us back, so now you're responsible for his debts. But we paid everything back then. Pasha paid all the creditors, he told me in the hospital before he died. Stop brainwashing us." One of the bandits threw some paper on the table. "This is a copy of your Pasha's receipt. He didn't pay it. If you don't get the money, you'll sign a deed of gift for the house and you'll go to the bar yourself. Don't call the police or run away. If we find her, it'll be worse. We'll come for the money in a week." The bandits went outside, slamming the front door. There was the sound of a car engine driving away. She closed the door, fell on a stool, and dropping her head on the table, sobbed bitterly. Nikolai sat at the table in the kitchen, running his hand over the phone like a computer mouse. He stared at one point, not seeing the message on the screen, not understanding its meaning. He couldn't see anything on the kitchen wall either, not a picture in a frame or a shelf of knickknacks. It was as if he were concentrating on some inner level, looking, as they called it, inside himself. Why is everything so bad in his life? After all, not so long ago everything was fine. An interesting and well-paid job, a beloved wife, an adored baby son. No, irreparable tragedy did not happen. Everyone was alive and well. He did not lose his job, and his wife did not go to a lover. But the usual world was destroyed a couple of months ago. That day he came home in a great mood. He had received a substantial bonus for a perfectly completed project, and he was anticipating how he and Reginka would discuss in the evening what to spend it on. His wife was unusually excited, listened to him inattentively, said that now she would put Vityusha to bed and they would talk, and meanwhile he let her have dinner. Nicholas was finishing his tea when Regina came into the kitchen and sat down at the table. "Sleeping?" he asked. "Yes, fell asleep quickly today." "So what do you think we'll spend my bonus on?" "Wait, Kolya, with the bonus, it's a more serious matter." "Did something happen?" he asked anxiously. No, don't think. Nothing bad has happened, on the contrary. The thing is, in general, that I'm going to work." "Wait, Regisha. What are you talking about? You're still on maternity leave. Vitya's a baby. What kind of job?" "Vitya's not so little. Your mom can handle him just fine. She offered me before, and now I'll ask her." "But why do you need a job? I don't understand." "I earn a lot of money. It's enough for us." "I got a bonus today." "That's right. You earn good money. You got a bonus. You're the breadwinner. And I'm just a nanny, a cook, a cleaner. By the way, I have a higher education. I am fluent in 2 languages, English and Spanish. Since the maternity leave, I feel that just perish. Porridge, diapers, feeding, walks, diapering. What growth is there? I just suffocate. All the time at home, all the time with the baby. Why all the time? You go for walks, you talk on forums, and on walks. What do we talk about? Who's pooped? Who's teething? Who's sick? I don't want to turn into a pussy. No, don't talk me into it, please. No one's talking you down. I just don't understand. What kind of job is it that you're willing to give up everything for? It's an elite travel agency, for serious clients. They don't take people from the street, and I have a friend who works there, Natasha. One of their girls married a Spaniard and went to live with him, and Natasha recommended me. I'm fluent in 2 languages, and I'll learn French. I have to give an answer today, and the day after tomorrow I'll go to work. There's a queue, if anything, no one will wait." Nicholas was just depressed. He did not expect such a turn. It seemed to him that Regina is quite content with her life, and does not think about any work. But she was so fired up, so set up, that he waved goodbye, especially since Mom, although without much enthusiasm, agreed to look after Vitya. Regina went to work, and then it turned out that this is not the office, horns and hooves, where you can leave early, take time off, take a sick leave for childcare. The chief warned the new employee very firmly. Usually we don't take young mothers, but Natasha asked for you very much. But please note that your child is your problem. Hire a nanny. Ask your husband, it's none of my business. You have to be fully committed to your work. Stay late. Go out with the group when you need to, so I don't get in trouble. You know you have to value this kind of work. Regina assured her boss that she would not be a problem, and plunged into work. Alla Andreevna, Nikolai's mother, was outraged. She thought she would only be a backup, but it turned out that she would have to replace the child's mother completely. She didn't like this turn of events, but it was too late to turn back. Regina plunged headlong into work. In addition to hard work in the office, she had to accompany tourist groups on trips. And if the honored employees were attracted by more interesting tours, Southeast Asia, Europe, Latin America, the new girl was dumped on the routine, Turkey, Egypt, and so on. Regina had to leave more and more often. She willingly took on any trip, which could not like Nicholas and his mother. They managed to organize their everyday life, coping with problems one by one. Regina, when she was not traveling, also helped in the evenings and on weekends, but it was felt that she did it without a soul, and all her thoughts are at work, in the office, or on the trip. One Saturday evening his friend Yura called and asked for help. You see, my friend is in very serious trouble. She was attacked by gangsters, her husband died a year ago, and now some debt has come up, and they are demanding it from her. Wait, Kolya was a little taken aback. What side am I on? I'm just asking you to help in a friendly way. You have a cousin who works in the police. So your father-in-law has connections there too. Nikolai still didn't understand. Kol, well, how can you not understand? I cannot attract my father-in-law. He should not know about this woman. I broke up with her a few months ago, but she, I think, still hoping for something. You're an asshole, Yurka. I've got a lot of problems right now. I'd like someone to help me, but you want me to pull your ex-lover out of the shit and leave my family without support. Just call Sine. Ask him to help you out. He's not just an ordinary cop. I'll cover all expenses if necessary. In the end, not without difficulty, Yura persuaded him, and on Sunday evening he, having called beforehand, drove up to the house on the outskirts of the city, where this very Olga lived. She turned out to be a petite woman of about 35 years of age, with huge frightened eyes, brown hair gathered in a lush ponytail, and thin graceful hands. Poor thing, he sympathized. Her late husband has done something wrong, and now she has to answer for it. The landlady offered tea. They went into the kitchen, and she told him about the visit of the terrible strangers and her utter helplessness. She had never had such money before, and she was at a complete loss, very much afraid for herself, and especially for her mother, to whom she had not yet said anything. Nikolai shook his head and told Olga to tell him everything. Where the debt came from, what the late husband was doing, why he left such an inheritance. He wrote down all the information, told her not to say anything to anyone, waiting for a call. They exchanged phone numbers, and he left. For some reason he could not get out of his head the image of a fragile woman wrapped in a fluffy shawl, looking at him with huge pleading eyes. He stopped by Sina's house, realizing that the conversation was not a telephone conversation. He was afraid that his brother would scold him for meddling in the wrong business, but he suddenly showed a keen interest, began to ask about the appearance of the bandits, the time of their visit, and other details. Nikolai told everything he knew, and Semyon gave a satisfied snort. This is Goose and his associates. He showed up, my little dove. Okay, we'll deal with them. Thanks for the tip. Senya called a day later and said that everything was fine. His girlfriend could sleep well. These idiots decided to raise easy money, found old documents, drew a receipt, chose a victim, but cruelly miscalculated, and now give the necessary testimony. For some reason Nicholas wanted to report on the successful completion of his mission personally, and he rushed to a cozy country house to this unusual woman, who for some reason very much wanted to see. He told her that the bandits had been arrested, and she was no longer in danger. She again drank him some wonderfully fragrant tea, looked at him with shining eyes, and thanked him. He left with some strange feeling, realizing that he did not want to part with this unusual woman, and feeling sure that they would see each other again. At home, the usual routine awaited him. A tired mother, a clean, well-groomed, sleeping son, and a message from his wife that she had been urgently taken on another trip and was already at the airport. So 3 weeks went by. Regina arrived, spent a week at home, and left again. Nikolai was whipping around like a scalded man, torn between work, his son, and household chores, replacing his old mother wherever possible. He was just at the limit, but it turned out that everything is much more complicated and worse. Returning to his home to rest a little, Alla Andreevna was in a traffic accident, and she was taken to the intensive care unit. Nikolai learned about it only in the morning. Exhausted to the limit, he put his son to bed and passed out near him, having turned off the phone beforehand. In the office, the chief sympathized, allowed a couple of days not to go to work, but asked to destroy the situation as soon as possible. He is very much expected to load the work. Then Nikolai called the hospital, talked to the doctor. Fortunately, it turned out that his presence was not necessary for the time being. It was only necessary to bring medicines and pay for some procedures. He outlined his situation to the doctor and asked him to do everything that was necessary. He would transfer the money to him immediately. The Esculapist wrinkled his nose a little, but accepted this option. Having solved the most important current issues, Nikolai began to solve strategic problems. A day or two, and it is necessary to go to work, to go to the hospital to his mother, to be with the child. It is absolutely clear, he will not manage alone. We have to get Regina back right away. His wife was on the line and answered almost immediately. After the usual greetings, he got right down to business. Regina, you have to come back immediately. We have big problems. He briefly told about the accident, Mom's condition, his conversations with the chief. When are you coming? Kolya, you know I can't leave the group and come home. I have a contract. When does your contract expire? He could barely restrain himself from yelling. Well, actually, the day after tomorrow. But I'm here. Anyway, the band is going on tour for a week, and then I'm taking another band there, and I'm going away with them for 2 weeks. I've already made all the arrangements. It's a double rate. It's a great deal. Regina, did you even hear me? Mom's in intensive care. I'm alone with Vitya. I have to go to work. What band? What tour? Come back immediately. Kolya, you're at it again. You've got a job, your boss wants you, and I'm just chilling here. Take a vacation, even if it's without pay. Somehow solve this issue. I can't. If I quit the band, I'll be in terrible trouble. Catastrophic. Please, think of something. Nikolai slowly pressed the disconnect. Inhaled and exhaled deeply, once again and again. He imagined blooming lilac bushes, counted to 20 and back again. Bravo, Regina, thank you for your trust. Don't worry, I'll figure it out, I'll manage. I dialed my mother-in-law's number. She was aghast, sympathetic, but refused to help. She and her father-in-law were vacationing in a boarding house in Sochi, and they were not going to interrupt their rest and treatment. What the hell is this? He called Yura, but even there he received a refusal. I cannot, old man. Now I cannot. I and Oksanka quarreled mortally. She found out something about me. We have here is almost to divorce. If it weren't for that, wouldn't I have helped? And now, where to? What a turnaround. No one wants to help. No one cares about their own problems. What am I supposed to do? Hire a nanny. A good solution. But where to find her in 2 days, competent, sensitive, skillful, and, most importantly, to be able to trust the child, to leave with her for the whole day. Suddenly he remembered Olga, the woman he had helped. Maybe she would agree to stay with Vitya at least a few days, until he found a nanny? After a little hesitation, he dialed the number. Hello. Is this Olga? Yes. And you are that Nikolai, my savior. How did you understand? I saved your number in my contacts just in case. Olga, I have a slightly unusual request. Can you help me? If it's in my power, absolutely. You helped me out the other day. How can I refuse? What do you want me to do? To spend a few days with my son. He briefly described the situation. Okay, I'll be there tomorrow morning. I have a freelance job. I'll bring my laptop. Don't worry, everything will be fine. The next morning, Olya arrived with a woman very similar to her, only older. My mom, Alexandra Karitonovna, she introduced her. You won't mind. My mom has worked in a kindergarten for 40 years. She knows how to handle kids. Yes, of course, come in, please. The women got down to business at once. Olya's mother quickly boiled milk porridge, began to feed the baby, humming some song, and Olya herself began to make an audit of the refrigerator and cabinets. My God, Nikolai, and what do you eat yourself? You have nothing. There are still some dumplings in the freezer. Nikolai was embarrassed. I'm fine, I'm not used to it. But the kid is capricious. I guess I don't know how to cook baby food. Then let's do it this way. If you trust us, we'll clean, cook, buy groceries. Mom will be with Vitya, and I'll be in the kitchen, and in general, we'll clean up. You just show us where everything is, so we don't have to jerk you around every minute. Thank you very much. Nikolai felt like a huge, heavy mountain falling off his shoulders. I'll then go to my mother in the hospital, and you will not interfere. Only I have a request. In the bedroom, do not clean up. I'll do it myself, because it's uncomfortable somehow. Do you need to buy groceries? No, I don't need to. First of all, I'll do it better myself, and secondly, I don't want you to be in a hurry. Stay with your mother, take a walk, have a rest, because you look like a hunted horse. She smiled a little embarrassed. Then let me transfer money to your card for groceries. Okay, you on the phone number, just transfer and that's it. Nikolai left, feeling light at heart. At least for his son now you cannot worry. Mom was transferred from the intensive care unit to the general ward. She was still very weak, but the doctor assured that the danger had passed. He sat with her for a while, then the doctor called him into the corridor. Excuse me, you said your wife was on a trip abroad. Has she arrived yet? I am not out of idle curiosity. Soon your mother will undergo a course of treatment. She will just need peace, care, home-cooked food, close people around. And it's best to take her home. The hospital, whatever it is a public institution, and she will recover much faster at home. We'll keep her for another week, keep her under observation, and then it's better to take her home. Nikolai decided not to go to his place. Let the women quietly do useful work. There was nothing to tangle under their feet. He walked along the embankment, drank a cup of coffee, which was prepared by a young, pretty girl barista. It was obvious that she was trying very hard, literally putting her heart into it, although she still had very little experience. The coffee was really good. He gave the girl a thumbs up, smiled broadly, and left a generous tip. He came home in a good mood. From the kitchen came mind-blowing smells. The apartment shone clean. Vitya was sitting on the carpet with Baba Shura. Nikolai liked this cozy name. They were playing with cubes and were laughing happily. Olya was fiddling in the kitchen, finishing some baked goods. Let me feed you, Nikolai, she smiled. Tell me, when do you have to go to work? I'd like to go to work tomorrow. But if anything, we can do it the day after tomorrow. Then let's do it this way. My mother and I will leave today, and tomorrow we'll be at your place at 11 o'clock. You'll be able to leave tomorrow at lunchtime, and the day after tomorrow, you'll be able to work full-time. Thank you, Olya. There's another thing. He told me that it was desirable to take my mother home in about a week. Well, we'll figure it out, I think. She smiled. Nikolai went to work and was able to get involved in a new project immediately, without distractions. Olya or Baba Shura came regularly, helped to cook, clean, and most importantly, to sit with Vityusha. After a few days, the women offered to move Vitya to their house. We'll not have to travel every day, and the house in nature, and the air is cleaner, and all the raspberries and currants. Nikolai easily agreed. The son took Grandma Shura and Aunt Olga as relatives, and willingly stayed with them. It was time to take my mother out of the hospital, and Olga suggested that she also move to them. They will provide care, there will be a grandson, and Papa Kolya will come in the evenings, at least for an hour. It's not difficult for him with his car. And so it was agreed. And again the golden character of the kindest helpers was revealed. They instantly found a common language with Kolya's mother, and Vityusha was absolutely happy surrounded by two loving grandmothers. Soon Nikolai received a message from Regina that she was coming on Saturday. For some reason he was not happy. He didn't even know how to react. His wife had been so far away from him all this time. She came light, with one travel bag, kissed her husband, plumped into a chair and chirped non-stop. How cool it is abroad. How she is great at work. The chief is very pleased with her, preparing a promotion. Well done, Nikolai reacted boringly. Now you probably will not appear at home at all. No, why not? She averted her eyes. I will, of course, but you're right, less often. Now I'll have tours for a month or two, but the pay is amazing. Can you imagine? And she began to tell again about the beauties of Spain and Italy. Regish, do you know that Mom was in intensive care, now she's recovering? Are you interested in how I worked, who Vityusha was with? Oh, I'm sorry, please, I completely forgot. How's your mom? Where's Vitya? They are at my new friends. They took care of my mom and Vitya. Who are these friends? Do I know them? I want to see my son. I'm only here for a couple of days. I have a plane the day after tomorrow. I've brought presents for everyone. You don't know my friends, Regis. Let's just get this over with before you freak out again. You know, you don't need to see your son. He won't recognize you. Go away and build your career. I've learned to get along without you. Do you want to divorce me? Regina asked quietly. Why, do we still have a marriage? In my opinion, our divorce is a matter of time, so why wait? Especially, as it seems to me, you have long ago found a replacement for me. You have your own life, and there's no room for me or my son. Let's divorce quietly and peacefully. I will not bring you any claims, but leave my son to me. You won't have time for him on your travels anyway. Trust me, it's the best thing for everyone. Stay in the nursery tonight if you want. I'll be home late. He turned around and left the apartment. He got behind the wheel and drove smoothly, driving out on a familiar road, to a cozy house on the outskirts, where his family and friends were waiting for him. His son, both of his grandmothers, and the woman he loved. He had no doubt about it now. To whom he would propose today.